Assassin's Creed Shadow, man. I've come back from the Assassin's Creed Shadow. Got about almost 50 hours in the game. I put a lot of time into this game. I haven't beat it because it is a pretty massive game, but I feel like I've put enough into this game to give you guys my opinions on what you should do. Assassin's Creed made by Ubsoift. A lot of talk around this game. A lot of talk. We're getting into all that. What's going on, you guys? Gaming Addict here, coming at you with another video. Assassin's Creed Shadows. Put about 50 hours in the game. Put a good amount of hours. I still ain't beat it. I don't know how long it's going to take me to beat it. I feel like I'm getting mildly close to the end. You know, there's a lot of checks that's been crossed off my list. When you guys play it, you'll understand what that means. And comes down to it, man. Should you guys invest into it? Should you buy it, man? I don't normally tell you guys to buy stuff. I give you information, and I let you decide whether or not you gonna purchase it. I don't even give stuff grades. It's just give you the information, man. So, Assassin's Creed, man. We're gonna talk about the story, graphics, combat, the location, and I think we will talk about the USA stuff because I know that's gonna be a huge factor into this. How I felt they implemented USA in the story. We're going to get straight into that, man. First thing we're going to start with the story. Story solid. You know, I don't want to tell what type of story it is. But it's mainly revolved around Neo. It's definitely not Neo. Butchering her name. It's definitely revolved more around her than USA. Now, I would say that USA is definitely part of the story. But the overall plot of the story is revolved around the chick. I think it's a good story so far, man. I think it's very Japanese-like, you know, stuff going on. You got to figure out who, where, when. You know, biggest thing I would probably, you know, in terms of story, now it is a little bit of gameplay related, but I do feel that they could have done better when it comes to the story. Now, when you're playing Assassin's Creed Shadow, all they essentially tell you is where an individual is. They'll say, look, they're in this location, southwest of it. I don't mind it, but I do feel like from a casual perspective, because you have to use the scouts to actually show where they are, just tell me where they are at that point. Now, I don't mind it, me particular, because, you know, I'm pretty decent at reading stuff, scenarios like that. The biggest advice I can give you guys is sometimes they'll tell you like a specific place in the region. If you look at like the bottom left or the bottom right where the region is, below the region, it will tell you what section that you're highlighted. So even if you're not been to that location, it will still let you see it. So that's the biggest thing I can tell you guys in terms of finding where these individuals are for the story. That's what I would say. You know, story's good. Story's good. So far, it's not been anything fantastic. It's not been anything that, like, I'm going to tell you guys is like the ultimate story of the year, but it is definitely an enjoyable story that I'm taking place in. That's probably the biggest thing I would say in terms of story. I don't really like trying to go into the story. I feel like you guys are going to want, for the most part, you're going to want to enjoy that yourself. So I can only tell you, you know, going into that, I do think both characters are used in good ways in terms of that. You know, we'll get into the USA thing in a little bit. Gameplay. Actually, we'll talk about the graphics first. Graphics, phenomenal. The biggest criticism I can give for the graphics is I feel like you're going to, in order to navigate around Japan, you know, it's a huge map. I don't know if it's bigger. I feel like Odyssey was bigger. If I'm thinking to myself, I feel like Odyssey was bigger. But I do feel like here in the recent years, they've been a little bit overwhelming when it comes to the map. Like, how mass and big the game is. So they scaled back a little bit. It might be, I don't know. I didn't play a whole lot of Valhalla, but I know that map was big too. So I don't know if this is the same size. It's small. It is a big map, but I don't think it's bigger than what Assassin's Creed Odyssey was. Odyssey was huge. But man, they captured Japan right. I ain't never been to Japan. Point that out. You know, hopefully I'll be going this year. But they captured Japan and what I would perceive as Japan, you know, back in the day, right? It got that feeling, got those gates everywhere. You know, got the people walking around. They captured the actual essence of Japan really well. Sometimes when you're loading a game, they'll have like this scenario where they're loading different, still shots back to back when it comes to that. And I think that is a key point to like really show you how beautiful Japan is. Because if there's one thing people tell you about Japan, besides how respectful, Japanese culture is Japan's beautiful. And I feel like Ubisoft really went over it with a fine-tooth comb. Navigation can be a little weird sometimes, especially when you're trying to find like the eagle spots where you go up to the top and you sync the area. That could be weird a little bit, but I wouldn't say the game itself is bad. Most of the time I would say if you're having a hard time like getting to a place, go ahead, on the horse, you could use the signal. You can use the waypoint, and it will tell you what angle you need to take the mountain. Because that's what, like if you zoom in all the way on the map, you'll see kind of like a Skyrim thing where it's like showing you different elevations. And I think that might be one of the biggest issues, because if you don't look at that really good, you'll need to like take a certain area to get to a certain place a lot better. It's not like Skyrim where you could just climb every mountain. You're going to slide down them a lot. So I think that would probably be one of the criticisms I can give. It's not even really criticism. It's not even really nitpick. It's just like the angles and the vantage points that you're going to have to get to certain parts of the map. You might have to go around a mountain to go up it. You can't just go up the mountain. And sometimes you go through the textures. I did notice some pop-ins. Stuff, very light stuff. I didn't really have no issues with the game itself. I'm playing it on the Series X. It's running fine. It's looking fine, and I think you guys are gonna enjoy that. Going into performance, there is 2 modes: fidelity, performance mode. Your boys choose performance. I like when my game runs better. I don't really care about none of that other stuff. That's just my opinion on when it comes to that. It's like I said, the world's amazing. It does. This is what I would have wanted from them playing something like an Assassin's Creed in a Japan setting. So let's talk about the combat. I feel like the combat's where this game is good. I don't know how people are going to react to this combat. I feel like some people are going to say, this plays just like this Assassin's Creed or that Assassin's Creed. I feel like some people are going to try to compare this to Ghost of Tsushima, which is a fair comparison to a degree, but not the same game. The only time I compare a game to another game is if it's a franchise. When I'm reviewing a game, if it's a franchise, I'll compare you to your predecessors, but I don't feel like comparing you to the letter to another game, another franchise is fair. Now, if you want to use another game as an example of how a game plays, I think that's fair. But in terms of gameplay, I loved it. I'm going to be honest with you. I know people aren't going to feel the way I do. I feel like some people will have an issue with it. First off, you say Neo or Noah. I don't know. Some of you love to put pronunciations in the comment section below. Hit me with them, man. Hit me with them. They play entirely differently. And when I say differently, I mean differently. You say does not play like an assassin from Assassin's Creed by any means of the stretch of the imagination, but Nio does. She is the definition of what an assassin is. And I think that's fine. You're giving me the assassin feeling, and keep in mind you can pick between both of these at any time throughout the game. You go to the inventory and it lets you pick which one you want to play with. Major cutscenes, it lets you pick which one you play with. I don't know if I had to, but I do feel like there are moments in the story that you have to play as one of them. It doesn't let you choose. Now, I don't know if I could have switched in the inventory. I didn't try. But there were scenarios where it made me play as one of the characters. And most of the time it would be depending on what scenario you're doing, it would do it story related too, where they would switch certain things up depending on what story you're doing. Like Nio would go up in the rooftops and let something from Yusei to get in. Stuff like that is story oriented and you have to play as one individual character. But I do feel like there are scenarios, especially fighting, where they're going to make you play as one specific character. And the reason they do that is because Yusei's broken. I'm going to be honest with you. If you're going into battles and you don't even want to attempt stealth like, you want to get that bad boy out, man. It is simply absurd how strong Yusei is in this game. He towers over people, like completely towers over people. He could take 3 or 4 people on easily. Now, I did start to get good with Nio, and I think that's the point. It's like, look, Yusei is designed to be a samurai. He's going to take on, opportunities and situations as a samurai. He's not going to take it as an assassin. If that's going to bother you, I feel you. But for the most part, you don't have to play as Yusei if you want to play the game more as an assassin. Ubisoft has taken this approach where shinobis are important in the Japanese culture, and so is samurais. So I feel like it makes sense to have both of them in this game. There's constantly war going on between the two factions. Clan war, all kinds of stuff, constantly going down. Now, when it comes to like movement, the movement in this game is very good. The one thing I will say is there's certain areas that I feel is entirely designed around Nio, and there's certain areas that are designed around Yusei. Yusei doesn't even know how to do the leap of faith, and I love it because they separated the two so much. They couldn't be further apart. If you're going in there for beef, Yusei's your person. If you want to, be a little bit more strategic, play the game more of Assassin's Creed, Nio is going to be your person. And that's why I appreciate the most in this game, because they made it feel good. They made it to where you could play this game truly how you want to play it. Now, I understand, like I said, some people are going to say, but Addict, I want a full-blown assassin experience. And what I have to tell you is you have that. I'm going to be honest with you. You have that. You play the majority of this game with anyone you want to play. If you don't want to play with Yusei and you want to be more stealth-like, plays her. Plays her more. What I like is, at the beginning, I struggled with her, but when I started getting more abilities, started getting more weapons, what's interesting is there's like 5 to 10 skill trees with both characters. They have different weapons they can use. Nio has the dagger, the hidden blade dagger thing. She also has, I don't know if it's kunai with chain. I think they call it something else. They definitely call it something else. I'm not going to even begin to try to butcher that pronunciation. She's got the katana. Yusei's got the bow. He's got like a spear he can use. And they got multiple weapons with these. They got, obviously the rarity systems back in this game, and I didn't mind it. You can actually go into the blacksmith that you can get, and you can upgrade all this to the level. And that's another thing that I want to give. I'm not normally the kind of person that like builds home bases, but they actually have a really nice headquarters that you get in this game, and they have nice add-ons, level ups. I think you guys will enjoy that too. They got transmods, so if you want something to look like something else, you can go with that direction too. This game gives you a lot of customization. And what I mean by customization is just the transmogs by itself. You get a katana. You can customize the hilt. You can customize, I don't know what this part's called, but you can customize that part. You can customize how you want the blade to look, what color you want the blade to be. And all you got to do is have other options from other weapons. And you can take not just the weapon, not just the transmog of the weapon itself, but the individual parts in the weapon you could choose too. And I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Look, let's get to the meat of the thing. Like I told you guys, went over pretty much all the things, skill trees, everything. Biggest thing I think people are going to say about this game is, I know there's like a movement going on, putting Yusei in the game. I didn't feel like it was forced. And you guys know I would tell you if I felt like it was forced. I felt like people treated Yusei like he would be a black man in Japan. And I think that's what look, if you truly believe in, being fair diversity, it's just got to make sense. Can't feel forced. my personal opinion, keep in mind I've never been to Japan. And I definitely wasn't black in Japan back in the day. So I couldn't tell you how they treated them. But what I could tell you from playing the game on my perspective is it felt like they definitely was fair with the scenario. And I understand that people are like, but Addict, you know, shut up. I'm going to be honest with you, shut up. Look, it's okay to have stories in other sections if it feels genuine. And to me, it felt genuine. I liked Yusei. I liked the way he interacted with, you know, the Japan's culture. He was respectful. And he had to earn their trust. And that feels genuine to me. Now, if they would have sugarcoated it, you know, had a scenario where, you know, everyone just liked him off the bat, they didn't do that. They did it right. There's a lot of issues in the industry, and when it comes to that, and I don't feel Assassin's Creed Shadow is one of them. And I know I'm probably going to be the minority in that. You know, that's why I'm not talking about it as much. You know, we really went over gameplay, story, and stuff. But I felt like that is definitely a conversation people are going to have. And you guys know I don't run from conversations. But I'm not also the person to take other people's words for it. I might take your opinion to you know, to decide if I want to jump in there and look at my own opinion on the matter. But when I played this game, I generally felt like they told a good story. And Yusei's black in Japan. That's it. And I've always felt like that was going to be a better story than the same stories we've heard over and over again in Japan. Now, if you wanted to play, you know, as an Asian male because we're in Japan, I think that's valid criticism for your wishes on the game. But I don't think that necessarily means the game's bad, because I think they did a good job with Yusei. But anyway, man, gameplay good. That's definitely the best part of this game. Assassin's Creed, I think it deserves your time. I do. Now, I've played every Assassin's Creed. I started slowly pulling back on the Assassin's Creeds through the last ones, but I feel like they did a good job at like a middle ground to let the people that like the RPG aspects play it, the people that like, you know, the Assassin's aspects play. They did a good job on that, and I have to actually give my hats off to them. Obviously, if you've never played Assassin's Creed, this game might not do anything for you. There's a lot of incidences with this game that, you know, might upset you. I don't know what to tell you because I enjoyed it. But that's it for the video, man. Shout out to Ubisoft for providing me with the code. They did. But you guys know how I am. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. If I like it, if I don't like it, doesn't matter what they do. I'd rather be blacklisted telling you guys my honest opinion than feel like I sold my audience out for a code, because that's never going to happen. But anyway, put the comment section below what you guys feel about this. I'm very curious to hear your guys' opinion on the matter. And until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace. Ooh, Assassin's Creed Shadows was a really good time. I'm going to go back to it. Man. Didn't beat it. 40, 50 hours. Didn't beat it, though. Want to say that again. Peace, guys.